Hi, I'm Captain Coppin with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report.
All right, guys, this week we're going to start off talking about redfish. The King Ranch shoreline has been pretty good. We've had a mixture of high and low tides, but right now they're low. So if you come out here and you fish right along the sand in the shoreline, you're going to find lots of good redfish in here fishing with cut bait. We've been throwing cut skipjack, menhaden, all kinds of stuff just in here. Shad's been working good, and also some of those guys are still throwing those sardines. But anyway, just get up close to the shoreline. Make sure your baits are hitting in the sand, not on the grass, but in the sand. And the windier, the better. That's when the bait's making the most movement. Over here on the Nighthawk spoils, we've been catching good reds again, throwing in the sand. On the low tides, you'd find me a little bit light outer here in the bay, and on the higher tides, find me tighter to the islands, but still making sure those baits are hitting in the sand. Cut bait, skipjack, shad, mullet, all in here, finding good redfish and occasional nice trout. Over here on the Bird Island spoils, we've been catching good reds. Again, just like the shoreline, whenever it's high tide, I'm on top of the island. And whenever it's low tide, I'm pulled back off the island a little bit, but still making sure my baits are hitting in the sand. That's really an important part. Whether you're in Port A or you're in Corpus, Baffin, Laguna, when your baits are hitting in the grass, it's just harder for the fish to find them. The bait gets buried, the crabs get to it, the perch get to it. But when it's in that open sand, those perch don't want to swim out there in the open. They will, a few of them, and yes, your baits will get eaten a little bit, but they don't want to go out there for a meal. They might go out there and peck at it every now and then, but really, it's easier for the reds to find it. The perch aren't going to come out, especially if it's a really big, wide open sand hole. Those are going to be more effective because the perch aren't going to be as bad. But this island right here in particular has been good. I've been hitting it a little bit. But all of these islands, you can go from here to here to here and just do some island hopping because, of course, we all can't fish the same island. So, look at the yellow cabins. They're just as good, just like a spoil on the east side. You can try one on the west side and throw that cut bait. Also, been catching a few black drums, so just a popping cork and shrimp in the sand will work good too. All right, I had some questions this week about the Salada and if there were any fish back here. And yes, there are. These shorelines are got fish on them. I like to fish both sides, both the east and west side of the Salada. You've got good water in here. You've got rock structures. You've got bait. This side's going to be your protected. It looks on the map a little muddy, but this is the protected side on that southeast wind. Of course, on an east wind, it may be a little tough, but just get up here on the shoreline, look for the bait. You'll find the fish. There's lots of rock in here, so just be careful when you're running, and catch those fish, both black drum and redfish up on the shoreline, and some trout on a little bit deeper, some of the rocks. Over here on the south shore, Black Bluff and White Bluff. I put these in my report a lot, and I put them in there because they're good areas. They're good areas when you've got that southeast wind because this is protected. Of course, you've got to run down that shoreline, so make sure you have a boat that you can run skinny in because you don't want to be running out here unless you've got these rocks really marked good. When the low tide is here, they're going to be out in the rocks, tight to the bar. But then when the tide's up, they're going to be up on this flat, and you can drift and pole and move down this flat when the tide comes up. But right now the tide's low, so they're going to be out here on the bar and out scattered on the rocks. Look for the bait, and you'll find the fish. Over here on the inside of the tide gauge bar, been catching good reds on the shore, just like we've been doing with the cut bait, finding those drains on some of the back lakes that are draining right now with the low tides, got redfish in them. If you want to fish out in the gut for trout, A lot of lure fishermen in here right now, wade fishermen. So just be respectful for the guys that are out of the boat. Try to, if you're running down through here, run wide around them. Let them have plenty of space. Don't cut right back in, cut off their drift. All the way down to East Clayburg Point. East Clayburg Point's even had some fish on it. I know I put that in my report a lot, but right here around the rocks, before the wind gets too high, and when it starts to crank up in the later morning, afternoon, come back here for some protection behind the tide gauge bar.
I'm Captain Grant Coppin. Thanks for watching.